Imagine this, twin brothers coming back home with big dreams, trying to start fresh after running from a dangerous past. But what if the place they thought was safe was actually hiding a darkness that won't let them go? This story's about family, secrets, and a twist so wild you won't see it coming. Just when you think it's all over, bam, the night turns into a fight for survival. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Dropping a like and a comment is the least you can do to show some love. And like we always say, even if some stories seem the same, they ain't never the same when I'm the one telling it. The movie opens with a voice, soft but heavy, warning us about a kind of music. A music so strong, it can call ghosts from both the past and the future. But this power doesn't come free. So, playing these tunes is like opening a door, and sometimes, what slips inside isn't welcome. It's like inviting a ghost to dance, only to find it's a demon dressed in a tuxedo. Charming but deadly. Clarksdale, Mississippi, October 1932. The air is thick with dust and secrets. Sammy Moore pulls up to the church, his face torn by claw marks, like the night itself had scratched him raw. In his hand, the shattered neck of a guitar feels like the last piece of his soul. Inside, Pastor Jedediah, his father, waits. His voice is heavy with faith and fear as he tells Sammy to abandon the music that haunts him and turn back to God. But Sammy just grips that broken guitar neck tighter, like it's the only thing still holding him together. It's a war between salvation and a song that won't let him go. One day before, the twin cousins, Elijah and Elias Moore, known as Smoke and Stack, roll back into Clarksdale from the shadows of Chicago. They're carrying stolen cash, the kind that smells like trouble and whispered threats from men who wear names like Al Capone. With that dirty money, they buy an old sawmill from Hogwood, a man with a past as dark as the bloodstains no one dares to mention, a former Klansman hiding behind a crooked smile. Their plan is clear: turn this place into a juke joint, a sanctuary where the black community can find music, hope, and maybe a little defiance. But dreams built on stolen gold often come with a price paid in shadow. Smoke walks into town, eyes sharp, looking for help from old friends Grace and Bo Chow. He needs a sign, and more, to make their juke joint's opening night unforgettable. But trouble doesn't wait. Two young men try to steal from his truck filled with alcohol. So Smoke shoots one in the ass and the other in the leg. A clear message that the Moore twins don't play. The town knows who they are. Trouble wrapped in charm and fire. Meanwhile, Stack finds Sammy, a young blues player hungry for a break. He then tracks down Cornbread, an old friend stuck in the hard life of a cotton plantation, and offers him a new role: security for their dream. In this town, loyalty is rare, and trust is paid in blood. Stack steps onto the creaking wooden platform of the train station, eyes scanning for the legendary Delta Slim. He knows the old bluesman's voice can light a fire in their plans. So they bring Slim to life with a raw, haunting song that grips everyone nearby. To seal the deal, Stack offers Slim a taste of Irish beer, something new, something smooth, promising a cut from the juke joint's first night sales. Just then, Mary appears, her face a storm of hurt and anger. She's a ghost from their past, and she's furious they forgot her mother's funeral, a woman who'd been like family to the twins. Meanwhile, Sammy meets Pearline, a married woman with a soft smile and eyes full of secrets. He flirts with her, bold and hopeful, inviting her to the juke joint's opening, like reaching for a spark in a dark room. In this world, music and pain dance dangerously close, and every note hides a story. Smoke walks into Annie's house, the air thick with incense and shadows that seem alive. She moves with a quiet power, her hands tracing symbols of old magic, voodoo that she says has kept the twins safe from the darkness lurking around them. They share a history soaked in pain, the loss of their child, a wound too deep to heal. But tonight, the past and the present collide in a moment of fierce need. Smoke and Annie come together, their bodies and souls tangled in a fragile hope, as if the touch might stitch back the pieces they both carry. Yet beneath their passion lies a truth neither can fully face. Some losses refuse to fade, no matter the spells whispered in the dark. As the sun sinks low, painting the sky blood red, Remick, an Irishman with eyes colder than winter, races toward the crooked home of Bert and Joan. He promises gold, a glittering bribe to earn their trust and protection against the Injuns he fears so much. But danger is already at the doorstep. A group of Choctaws arrive, warning Joan that Remick is no man to trust. She waves them off, blind to the shadow creeping inside her walls. When Joan returns, the house is no longer safe. Remick's true nature claws through the darkness. He is a vampire, and Bert has already fallen to the cursed bite. In a chilling ritual, Joan becomes the next to join the night's eternal hunger. So, The night deepens, and the evil spreads like a poison whispered in the dark. The night of the juke joint's grand opening bursts to life with music, laughter, and a crowd hungry for escape. Smoke and Stack watch as their dream flickers into reality, but the cost is already biting deep. They've spent more than they can afford, and the weight of debt hangs heavy in the smoke-filled air. Annie and Stack press Smoke to let folks pay with scripts, little tokens instead of cash, to keep the doors open and the music playing. It's a gamble, but one born of necessity. Mary slips inside, her presence a mix of grace and tension. Though she's only 1/8 black on her mother's side, the twins call her family, and tonight, family gets a pass. In this crowded room, the line between friend and stranger blurs, and every smile hides a secret. Stack steps back, nodding as Sammy takes the stage with his broken guitar. The first notes drift like smoke, slow and thick, wrapping around the crowd like a spell. Sammy's music isn't just sound, it's a summons. With every chord, spirits from the shadows of history rise, their voices joining his in a haunting harmony. Black musicians from distant times and places appear, ghosts with stories etched in pain and hope, and the juke joint fills with their song. But the magic comes with a price. As the music grows louder, the walls start to glow red, flickering like flames licking at old wood. The joint looks like it's burning down, yet no one stops dancing. This fire draws the eyes of Remick, Bert, and Joan, a darkness stirring just beyond the music's reach. The night grows darker as the vampires approach the juke joint, cloaked in shadows and false smiles. They claim to be musicians drawn by the music, eager to join the celebration, and even offer to pay. But Smoke's eyes narrow with suspicion, his gut warning him away. He denies them entry, unwilling to let shadows into their fragile dream. Mary, ever the brave soul, steps forward to meet them herself, knowing the twins could use every dime. She's caught by their haunting sound, but then something breaks. Remick's eyes flash red, his lips dripping with something dark and hungry. Mary tries to pull away, but in a terrifying blink, Remick lunges toward her, wings unfolding like a nightmare. Outside, Cornbread steps away for a moment of peace, but Bert and Joan, sinister and sly, draw him into their trap with cruel taunts. Back inside, Sammy and Pearline slip into a quiet room. There, Sammy's touch becomes a desperate escape. He performs oral sex on her, seeking warmth in the cold shadow hanging over them all. Mary sneaks back inside the juke joint, her eyes sharp and full of dark promises. She tries to lure Smoke with a dangerous smile, but her real prize is Stack. They slip into a room, tangled in heat and shadows, where lust blurs the line between trust and betrayal. Meanwhile, Smoke deals with a furious man, fresh from a razor slash, blood dripping and tempers burning, after being caught cheating with loaded dice. Smoke tells Sammy to fetch Stack, but Sammy can't, too embarrassed to interrupt the forbidden moment. When Smoke finally checks on them, horror meets his gaze. Mary's teeth are sunk deep into Stack's neck, her eyes wild and unforgiving. Smoke unloads every bullet he has, but Mary survives, vowing blood and ruin before disappearing into the night. Smoke rushes to save Stack, but it's too late. Stack's life slips away, stolen by the darkness they never saw coming. Smoke and Slim clear the juke joint, sending all the patrons out into the night. Only Smoke, Sammy, Annie, Slim, Pearline, and Grace remain, hearts pounding in the thick, heavy silence. But then Cornbread returns, pounding on the door, demanding to be let in. Annie's eyes narrow. Something's terribly wrong. When Cornbread offers money, Smoke reaches for it, but the moment his hand touches the bills, Cornbread's face twists. Fangs flash, and he lunges to bite. Smoke fires a bullet straight into Cornbread's face, forcing the vampire to flee into the shadows. Annie's worst fears come true. They are battling vampires, monsters hiding in plain sight. Then, from the darkness of a closet, Stack, dead but now undead, breaks free, his eyes burning with cold hunger. Annie throws garlic juice in his face, and he howls before bursting out the door into the night. But the horror doesn't stop there. The vampires descend on the remaining patrons, including Bo, turning friends into monsters. The juke joint is no longer a place of music and dreams. It's a battleground where the living fight to survive the night. Outside the juke joint, a growing crowd of vampires looms like a dark storm ready to break. Remick steps forward, flanked by Mary, Stack, Bert, and Joan, his voice cold and sharp as a blade. He reveals the cruel truth. Hogwood, the grand dragon of the KKK, betrayed the twins. Hogwood planned to use Bert and his clansmen to slaughter the Moore family and their friends. Stack confirms this, having seen Remick's memories. proof of the deadly trap set for them all. But Remick isn't like the others. He rejects the clan's hateful views. He wants Sammy instead. His music, a magic powerful enough to summon the lost spirits of his people. Remick offers them a dark gift: become vampires, live forever, and escape the chains of racism. But the group refuses, choosing mortality and freedom over eternal night. So Remick turns cold and cruel, threatening to strike where it hurts most. Lisa, Grace, and Beau's innocent teenage daughter. The night tightens like a noose, and the battle for souls is just beginning. The survivors arm themselves with stakes, guns, and garlic, hearts pounding in the thick night air. Grace steps forward, her voice sharp and fearless, shouting, "Come inside if you dare!" A challenge and a warning all at once. She charges at Beau with a stake, and the two explode into flames, burning bright and furious. Slim slices his arm, blood dripping like a red beacon, drawing a swarm of vampires away from the others. Pearline falls, her life bleeding out before Sammy's eyes, pain and loss crashing like thunder. Most vampires are driven back, staked or blasted to ash in a violent storm of light and death. But Annie isn't so lucky. She's bitten, her fate sealed in darkness. Smoke hesitates, then drives a stake through her heart, ending her torment before the monster inside can rise. Stack and Mary watch in horror, their faces flickering with a brief, tragic glimpse of humanity, grief washing over them like cold rain. Smoke and Stack clash in a brutal fight, rage and sorrow fueling every blow. Outside, Sammy faces Remick, his face scarred by claw marks from the earlier fight. With quick thinking, Sammy jams the silver tip of his father's guitar into Remick's skull, halting the vampire's attack. Then Smoke arrives, staking Remick through the chest just as dawn breaks. Remick bursts into flames, his screams swallowed by the rising sun, and one by one, the other vampires burn to ash. The nightmare ends with light spilling across the land, but the scars left behind will never fade. Smoke knows the clan is coming for them, cold, ruthless, and ready to kill. He orders Sammy to run fast and far, to save himself from the storm of hatred. Smoke grabs his guns and hides in the shadows, heart pounding like a drum of war. When the clansmen arrive, he opens fire with a fierce fury, bullets tearing through the night, a grenade tearing through flesh and bone. A bullet hits Smoke in the gut, but pain only sharpens his resolve. He blows the last of them up, sending Hogwood, bloodied and desperate, crashing to the ground. Hogwood offers money, begging for his life, but Smoke's answer is cold steel and lead. As Hogwood dies, Smoke sees the ghosts of Annie and their child, silent witnesses to the bloodshed and loss. In that moment, the fight feels both endless and heartbreakingly close, like a shadow that will never leave. Sammy stumbles back to the church, his face a mask of pain and defiance. His father, Jedediah, pleads with him to abandon the cursed music, to repent, and find peace away from the dark magic lurking in those strings. But Sammy's grip on the broken guitar is unyielding, his soul tethered to the sound no matter the cost. He refuses to let go, knowing the music is both his curse and his salvation. So, with the night pressing close and the weight of the past heavy on his shoulders, Sammy climbs into his car and drives north, carrying the haunted melody with him, a ghost that will never quiet. As the credits roll, we find Sammy, now an old blues musician, his face weathered but his spirit still alive. In 1992, after a soulful performance, Stack and Mary find him waiting backstage, their smiles warm but tinged with sadness. Stack says, "Smoke couldn't kill you. He told me to keep away from you." He sees the weight of years in Sammy's eyes and offers to turn him, a vampire's gift to live longer and keep playing his music forever. But Sammy shakes his head, calm and resolute. "I've seen enough of this world," he says softly. "When my time comes, I'm ready." Then Sammy plays one last song, raw and haunting, a farewell wrapped in melody. Before they part, he confesses the nightmares still haunt him, but adds, "The time before the sun went down, that was the best day of my life." Stack nods, his voice heavy with memory.